Have you ever wondered what makes a car move? It's not magic. It's something amazing called an internal combustion engine. Think of it as the heart of your car. Just like your heart pumps blood to keep you alive and moving, the engine creates power to make the car's wheels turn. This powerful heart is hidden under the hood, but it's the single most important part that brings your vehicle to life. It takes a special liquid, fuel, and turns its energy into the motion that gets you from home to school or on an exciting road trip with friends. It's a brilliant piece of engineering that changed the world. The name internal combustion sounds super technical, right? But let's break it down. Internal just means inside. Combustion is a fancy word for burning or creating a tiny controlled explosion. So, an internal combustion engine is simply a machine that creates power by burning fuel inside of it. This is different from old steam engines, where the fire was outside the engine, heating water to make steam. Here, all the action, all the fire, happens right inside the engine's core. This makes it much more efficient and powerful for its size, which is why we can have cars that are both fast and relatively small. Imagine you could shrink down and look inside. You would see a world of metal parts moving in perfect harmony, like a super complex dance. There would be a constant rhythm of whooshing air, hissing fuel, and powerful little explosions happening thousands of times every minute. All this energy, all this controlled chaos, is what pushes you forward when you press the gas pedal. It's the reason a massive metal car can cruise down the highway so smoothly. To understand how the engine works, you first need to meet its main team of parts. These components work together like a perfectly rehearsed band to create power. The main stage for all this action is called the cylinder. A cylinder is like a strong metal can or a tube, open at one end. Most car engines have multiple cylinders, 4, 6, 8. Inside each cylinder is where the magic of combustion happens. Moving up and down inside the cylinder is the piston. A piston looks like a solid metal puck that fits snugly inside the cylinder. It's connected to a lever called a connecting rod. At the very top of the cylinder, you'll find the spark plug. This little device is a hero. Its job is to create a tiny bolt of lightning, a spark, at the perfect moment. The crankshaft converts the linear back and forth motion of the pistons into the rotational force needed to power the car. Like legs pushing up and down on bicycle pedals to make the wheels go around. The engine creates power through a continuous 4-step process, often called the 4-stroke cycle. It's like a dance with 4 repeating moves: intake, compression, power, exhaust. Let's start with the first move, the intake stroke. The piston starts at the top and moves downward. A tiny door, the intake valve, opens as it moves down. That creates a vacuum inside the cylinder, like pulling back a syringe plunger. That suction pulls in air, then a fine mist of gasoline together filling the cylinder. Imagine standing inside. A sudden rush of cool, misty air and fuel floods the chamber. The second move is the compression stroke. With the cylinder filled and both valves sealed, the piston reverses and moves upward. It squeezes the air-fuel mixture into a much smaller space. Think of squeezing a full-size sponge into a tiny box. Compression makes the mixture more volatile and powerful, like coiling a spring. Pressure and temperature climb dramatically. At the very top, the mixture is under extreme pressure, hot, and ready to ignite. The stage is set for the main event, the power stroke. This is where the magic really happens. The third move is called the power stroke, and honestly, it's the whole reason the engine exists. Just as the piston reaches the top of the cylinder with the air-fuel mixture fully compressed, the spark plug fires. This causes a massive controlled explosion. The explosion creates a huge amount of pressure and heat, which violently forces the piston back down the cylinder. Imagine being there for that split second. There's a brilliant flash of light and a deafening bang as the fuel ignites. This downward force is transferred through the connecting rod to the crankshaft, giving it a powerful spin. And you know, this happens in every cylinder, over and over, thousands of times a minute. The final move in our 4-part dance is the exhaust stroke. After the power stroke is complete, the piston is at the bottom of the cylinder. The cylinder is now filled with the burnt gases and smoke left over from the explosion. So, another door at the top of the cylinder, the exhaust valve, opens up. The piston then starts to move back upward for a second time. As it rises, it acts like a plunger, pushing all the hot, smoky exhaust gases out of the cylinder through the open exhaust valve. This smoke travels out through the exhaust valve, into the exhaust system, and eventually out the tailpipe of the car. Once the piston reaches the top, the exhaust valve closes, and the intake valve opens again. The piston starts moving down, and the entire 4-stroke cycle begins all over again. This perfectly timed dance of intake, compression, power, and exhaust happens so fast that it creates a smooth, continuous flow of power to drive the car. So how exactly does a tiny explosion move a giant metal car? It's all about teamwork and converting energy. Each power stroke in a single cylinder gives the crankshaft one strong push. But a car engine has multiple cylinders, usually 4, 6, 8. These cylinders don't all fire at the same time. Instead, they are timed to fire one after another in a specific sequence. This creates a series of rapid, overlapping power pushes on the crankshaft. Like multiple people pedaling a bicycle, each pushing at a slightly different time, so there's always someone pushing. That keeps the crankshaft rotation smooth and continuous, not jerky. The driver controls engine power with the gas pedal. Pressing the gas pedal opens the throttle body valve. That lets more air be sucked into the engine. The ECU detects more air. The ECU tells the fuel injectors to spray more gasoline. More air plus more fuel equals a bigger explosion in the cylinder. Bigger explosion pushes pistons down harder. That spins the crankshaft faster. The car accelerates. Letting off the gas reverses the process. Throttle closes, reducing air intake. ECU reduces fuel spray. Explosions get smaller and less forceful. Crankshaft spins with less power and the car slows. Every press of the accelerator controls thousands of tiny explosions per minute, giving you more or less power on demand. It's a direct connection between your foot and the fire within. All those tiny explosions inside the engine create an incredible amount of heat. If this heat isn't removed, the engine's metal parts would get so hot they could melt, warp, seize up, causing catastrophic failure. To prevent this, every engine has a cooling system. Think of it as the engine's personal air conditioning and circulatory system combined. Its only job is to carry excess heat away from the hot engine core and release it into the air, keeping the engine operating at a safe and efficient temperature, which is usually around 90 to 105 degrees Celsius. The star of the cooling system is a special liquid called coolant or antifreeze. This fluid, often a bright green or orange color, is designed to absorb a lot of heat without boiling. It's also formulated to not freeze in cold weather, which protects the engine from cracking. The coolant flows through special channels and passages built into the engine block and cylinder head, called water jackets. As it flows, it picks up the intense heat from the metal surrounding the combustion chambers, much like a sponge soaks up water. The now hot coolant needs somewhere to cool off. This is where the radiator comes in. The radiator is a large finned metal grid located at the front of the car, right behind the grille. The hot coolant is pumped from the engine to the radiator. The radiator is designed with many thin tubes and fins, which creates a huge surface area. As the car moves forward, air rushes through the grille and over the radiator's fins. This moving air pulls the heat out of the coolant, just like blowing on a hot spoonful of soup cools it down. A large fan also helps pull air through the radiator, especially when the car is stopped or moving slowly, engine-driven or electric. A water pump keeps the coolant circulating. A thermostat acts like a gatekeeper. Hoses connect everything together. After the coolant has been cooled down in the radiator, it is pumped back into the engine to absorb more heat, and the cycle continues endlessly. This continuous loop ensures the engine never overheats. So, while the engine's job is to create heat and power, the cooling system's equally important job is to manage that heat and keep the mechanical heart of your car from destroying itself. Understanding the basics of how your engine and its cooling system work is practical knowledge that can empower you as a driver and car owner. When you know what's happening under the hood, you're no longer in the dark. You can better understand the sounds and the physical feel of your car. Is that a normal hum or a new noise that might signal a problem? Recognizing early signs of trouble, an unusual engine sound, a rising temperature gauge, helps you fix small issues before they become expensive repairs. Think about dashboard lights. When the check engine light comes on, it can be scary. Knowing the 4-stroke cycle, the fuel mixture, and the exhaust helps you interpret that light. It might be a spark plug, an air measuring sensor, or an exhaust system issue. If the temperature gauge climbs into the red zone, you'll know your cooling system is in trouble. You'll understand why you must pull over to avoid overheating and severe engine damage. This knowledge makes you a more informed consumer. At the mechanic, you'll describe the problem clearly, ask smarter questions, and understand recommended repairs. You'll know why they might replace the water pump or perform a coolant flush. That prevents unnecessary services and builds trust with your mechanic, so your car gets the care it needs without breaking the bank. Learning about your engine connects you to the machine you rely on. It fosters appreciation for the engineering behind it. Driving becomes more than point A to B. It becomes being in tune with your vehicle. The fiery heart under the hood doesn't have to be a mystery. It can be an amazing system you understand and care for.